Today, KayCee's ViewSpot is in the office of retired Commodore R.S.Vasan, who has recently taken over as Director, Chennai Center for China Studies. Commodore Vasan wears many hats. He is also the Director of the Asian Secretariat of the World Borderpol. He is in the Board of Advisory Group at the Madras University and Stella Mary's College, apart from being a visiting faculty at the Indian Maritime University, AMET, which is the first maritime university in India in the private university area, and the Great Lakes Institute of Management, also at HIET. That's very impressive and long. Thank you, Commodore Vasan, for agreeing to appear on KayCee's ViewSpot.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to talk to you.
I'd like to start at the beginning. Can you tell the viewer a little more about yourself growing up?
Well, I was born in Karnataka state in a small place called Hassan,
Okay.
which is now of course on the satellite map.
Yeah.
But thereafter, since my father was in the police service.
Oh, okay, that's news to me. Yeah.
So we were traveling around and I studied in a place called Chittaranjan in
Yeah.
my graduation.
Okay.
After that I moved to Bangalore
Yeah.
and where I was doing engineering.
Yeah.
And it's just so happens that when I was sometime still as a school kid, as a teenager in high school,
Yeah.
the Chinese aggression took place,
Okay.
1962.
Yeah.
I must have been 13 years.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided that I'll join the army
Okay.
or the navy
Yeah.
or the air force.
Yeah.
So everything I did thereafter, somehow shaped that way. I joined the NCC wing. I passed my B certificate, C certificate at the college,
Yeah.
and I made it a point to join the service.
Yeah.
And the first call that came across was the navy.
Yeah.
And not that it was my first choice,
Yeah.
because I was always looking at the army as my choice.
Yeah.
But I said no, any armed force is good enough. Let me go there.
Okay.
There's not a moment of regret
Yeah.
in having chosen navy as a career. And I
Okay.
served there for 34 years.
Yeah.
And was fortunate in being given many opportunities and challenges. So
Yeah.
that's it.
Okay. Like you said, you had a very distinguished career spanning over 34 years. What are some of the career highlights you would like to talk about?
Oh, like I said, the Navy is a wonderful service.
Okay.
And I must say I was quite lucky in being exposed to various wonderful appointments, both ashore and afloat. It's not every day that you get a chance to command a warship.
Oh, wow.
Nor do you get these kind of chances to command a maritime recce air squadron.
Yeah.
Most importantly, to be the commissioning commanding officer
Yeah.
of INS Rajali, which is not far from here.
Okay.
It's just about 70 kilometers from here at Arakonam.
Yeah.
And that is where I think I faced the biggest challenge,
Yeah.
because you have to work from scratch
Yeah.
and get this air station going.
Yeah.
To relocate at those days the Tu-142 aircraft. The
Okay.
Tu-142 is a multi-engine aircraft,
Yeah.
which is used for maritime recce and ASW operations.
Okay.
And we were able to relocate that squadron, also use the helicopter training school from Cochin. And I think that's been, in fact, all the jobs in the Navy have been extremely satisfying to me. I cannot say this job was not satisfying or this was more satisfying, but this was more challenging,
Okay.
because I was the first guy, we're the pioneers and we had to
Yeah.
sit together and start various things.
Yeah.
So if you want me to say which was the one which perhaps you would like to look at with special eyes,
Yeah.
then it would be INS Rajali, the command of INS Rajali,
Okay.
because it was my baby as
Okay.
the first commanding officer. And I was the one who was required to infuse life into this thing called Rajali. And
So,
today, if you
yeah.
go to Rajali, I go there every now and then.
Yeah.
And every time I go there, I come back with my heart filled with joy.
Yeah.
That there's so much things that, because every commanding officer acts,
Yeah.
that's his job, that's what he's paid for, that's
Yeah.
what he's located there for.
Yeah.
Everyone has contributed, and today the most modern P-8I,
Yeah.
the American aircraft based
Yeah.
on Boeing,
Yeah.
that is replaced the Tu-142,
Okay.
and it's come in a big way. And I was there to look at this aircraft very recently, and it's such a pleasure that the air station has grown, and the people have contributed to the efficiency of this place, and also it's so much more greener than even the surroundings, so it's become a green place. So
Okay.
Rajali has a special place in the scheme of things when I look back at 34 years of Navy.
Now, when you say INS Rajali, is it the ship or the station?
Yeah, the Navy has a convention by which even when it is a shore station,
Yeah.
we call it a ship.
Okay.
It's Indian naval ship. It's
Okay.
actually not ceiling.
Okay.
So, but we have this convention by which we call all commissioned units as ships.
Okay.
That's a naval convention.
Yeah.
So when we say INS Rajali, or INS Andre, or INS Garuda, INS Garuda is Indian Naval Ship Garuda. It's actually again an air station, which is another air station I commanded much later. So it's just a convention by which we call it ship. Otherwise,
and this is based in Arakonam. Then you were the one who started it. So, like you said, it whenever you keep going back, it gives you a lot of great pleasure. And how much has it grown to? What's the strength like?
Now we are looking at, when we started, we had just the Tu-142 squadron, which shifted from Goa. The squadron is called INS 312. We also call them the Mighty Props. It's the Albatross squadron. They call it the Albatross squadron. And then the helicopter training school, which was located in Cochin, we call it STS. And that trains the pilots for helicopter flying from both the Navy and the Coast Guard. And that was shifted within 3 months of our commissioning the air station. The helicopter training school shifted there. Now they have added the P-8 ICE, which is the Boeing squadron, and they also have a Dornier flight which comes in and out. They also have phenomenal maintenance facilities, and they have simulators now which are coming in. And so the place has really grown as envisaged by the planners. I think a lot of credit goes to the planners at that time in Delhi. And also the project management board. It's for the first time that in the Navy the project management board concept was put into motion. Where the Ministry of Defense people and the Ministry of the finance and all that, they work together hand in hand. That's why the project succeeded. And in fact, every building that you look at there has a different specification. The MES, the Military Engineering Service, changed their method of delivery. And we find that Rajali, when you look at, everybody talks about that. It's not that I was instrumental for everything. I was there, and I'm happy to be having part of that initiative called Rajali.
Now, all this means that you've had a little bit of pilot background, not a little bit. Can you talk more about your pilot background?
See, all of us in the Navy joined by and large as executive officers. And it is from the executive branch that you take people for naval aviation. So, at some time after your watchkeeping, there's your competency certificate in the same. They look for volunteers. And when you go for volunteering for the naval aviation, they check you out for particularly medicals, aptitude and this kind of. And then you are sent for training. And the Navy has two ways of getting people in the naval aviation. We have our own training institutions, but by and large it's the Air Force, the Indian Air Force, which trains the pilots. The Navy did train its own pilots for some time, but the rest of the crew who are there, who are equally important, like observers, flight engineers, signalers. So those people are trained in-house. So I opted for aviation after the 71 war. I was on one of the surface ships those days in 71, and
so you've seen action.
Yes. In the liberation of Bangladesh, I was on that theatre on a ship from Eastern Fleet, and we participated extensively. We were out at sea for 40 days. So coming back to this, basically, then thereafter we have in the Navy we have a system. Though you opt for aviation, it's not that you remain in aviation throughout. In each rank, you are required to come back to the sea. Because that's your basic profession. So in each rank, you come back, do your sea time, and then go back. So in this manner, then initially I went to INS 310, which is an Alizé squadron, which has been now decommissioned. Long ago it was decommissioned. After that, we always selected to go to Russia. So I went to Russia and we commissioned the IL-38 squadron. That was the first long-range maritime recce ASW squadron. Previously, this role was with the Air Force.
Have you flown that IL?
That's
the largest plane.
I was a commissioning crew.
Oh my!
So we are part of the commissioning crew. There were 20 of us who went to Russia. I was the junior most guy at that time, junior most officer.
So you've flown that?
Yes.
What are the other aircraft that you've flown?
The Alizés, the IL-38s, and the Dorniers. Of course, not that I have flown all of this, but I was part of the entire crew and that kind of thing. So and this IL-38 squadron, when we came back from Russia, we commissioned it in India, and after flying there, I went off for my staff college in Wellington, and then came for my sea time. Like I told you, it's compulsory for you to do a sea time. And from there, I came back to aviation, where I was a member of the Air Crew Instrument Rating and Categorization Board. Then I went back to the squadron as second in command. Then I commanded the Secretariat squad which I commissioned in Russia.
Yeah.
So that was again a moment of pride because you are part of that as the junior most person.
Yeah.
Now you come back to the squad as the senior most person guiding the affairs of the squad.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Yeah.
So and then after that IL-38s again, you know, I went back for some other sea times and that. And that's when I was in Naval Headquarters. And from Naval Headquarters I was chosen to be the commissioning commanding officer of Rajali. So which brought me to the highest position in aviation at the field level.
Okay.
That I was commanding an air station.
Yeah.
And that's the one which is in Rajali, which I spoke about earlier.
Okay. Okay.
And then after that, of course, then I went to College of Naval Warfare. We have now what's called the Naval War College. It was previously in Bombay. I tried to go, and I finished the Naval High Command course. I was reappointed there as an instructor for another 2 years, and so which involved training of the senior officers from all the 3 services: Army, Navy, Air Force. And from there again I went back to aviation. I was commanding another air station at Cochin, INS Garuda. So it's been...
Your family must have had to move with you everywhere.
In fact, at one time my children were disappointed if it didn't move every 2 years. Because they were looking for new environment, new friends.
They liked it.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So you were on deputation to the Indian Coast Guard from 2000 to 2003 and retired as the Eastern Regional Commander with Maritime jurisdiction in the Bay of Bengal. What were the challenges you faced and what do you feel are the present day challenges?
No, that's a very interesting period because 2000 to 2003 when I was here, you know, my area of jurisdiction was the Bay of Bengal, from the borders of West Bengal to the borders of Sri Lanka.
Okay.
And as you are aware that the LTT was still active.
Yes.
And although there was a CFA, a ceasefire agreement in 2002,
the
point was there were still isolated cases and we had to keep the areas under surveillance.
Yeah.
You know, there was still certain amount of activities of smuggling that was going on. You know, and also the issues of fishermen.
Yeah.
And so this was constantly there.
Yeah.
But you know, it did not flare out of our control, no, because only in 2009 that the LTT was decimated. But you know, these parlays were going on with the Norwegian countries there. So we used to be involved in the regular 3-monthly, that's quarterly IMBL meetings, which stands for the International Maritime Boundary Line meetings, where you know every quarter the Sri Lankan Navy counterparts and us and the Coast Guard and the Navy, we met at the IMBL, either on an Indian naval ship or on a Sri Lankan naval ship, and we used to exchange notes at that time. And invariably you would have those kind of complaints which we are hearing now also, that the Indian fishermen are being shot at by LTT or by the Sri Lankan Navy and those kind of things. So we always had to sit together, look at the maps, look at the radar plots and ascertain that such a thing has happened or not happened. And my own experience for those 3 years, where I must have attended, I don't know, at least 12 or 13 of this quarterly meeting, I can say with a great degree of certainty that the Sri Lankan Navy was not involved in shooting off these fishermen. But subsequently it was proved later that you know it was the LTT which wanted to make out that the Sri Lankan Navy was involved in this, and they themselves were involved in some of these incidents of harassing our fishermen, etc., etc. But politically it's being interpreted in a very different manner even today, even with the present dispensation. So that was one the other major thing.
So you're saying right now that even now it's not the Sri Lankan Navy that's doing it, it's the...
Definitely, I have no doubts whatsoever. I said in public and I can be quoted, it's not the Sri Lankan Navy, that the fishermen who are going into Sri Lankan waters are being apprehended.
Yeah.
You would do the same thing if a Sri Lankan fisherman came into our waters. Simple.
Okay.
So they are doing the same thing which a sovereign nation should do, which is to protect their interests. So the Tamil Nadu fishermen have been routinely crossing the IMBL. The IMBL was put together in 1934, and you know so.
But why do you think they keep crossing over?
Because there is no fish here. We have overexploited the fish wealth in our side by use of mechanized trawlers. Mechanized trawlers are not to be used. You know, whereas we gone ahead and used this indiscriminately, and there is no fish left on our side. So which is why the Sri Lankan fishermen. And by the way, the Sri Lankan fishermen are Tamils, which many of our own people do not know. It's the 2 Tamil communities which are fighting against each other. The Tamil fishermen from Sri Lanka, the Tamil fishermen from Tamil Nadu. So that point is not known even today. They think it's a Sinhala community. Sinhala fishermen don't come here. They go elsewhere to catch tuna fish and this, that, etc., etc. So that is the problem.
What do you think is the solution?
The solution is very simple. You know, I am making it sound very simple. The point is this: you must go and catch fish where it exists, which is in the exclusive economic zone of India, which extends to 200 nautical miles, and not in this area of 10 nautical miles. So you have to equip your fishermen with deep sea fishing vessels. Have a joint venture which finances and supports acquisition of such craft. train these people through the National Skill Development Corporation people,
Yes.
and ensure that they have alternate means of living.
Okay.
How can you go around continuously, poaching in others' water? There is no fish. Whereas in the exclusive economic zone of India, it is estimated there is phenomenal amount of fish wealth. It's just that we don't have the capacity to go and catch them. There's foreigners who are coming into Indian exclusive economic zone, and they are catching fish.
I hope the government is aware of all this and then trying to do something about it.
See, there are vested interests in keeping this issue alive.
Okay.
And therefore, if the government is committed, even for the present dispensation, if you can start so many of these canteens, you can support women's empowerment. Why can't you also do, put in about 1,000 crores or whatever and say this is the money that will be spent towards acquisition of such craft and training of these people and ensuring that they are not dependent on somebody else's wealth across the border.
When you say 200 nautical miles, which area?
It is around the entire coast of India.
Bay of Bengal, Arabian Sea,
yes.
or
Okay,
Indian
it's
Ocean.
according to the UNCLOS, the United Nations Conventions on the Laws of the Seas. You have an area up to 200 nautical miles from your coast. That gives you an area of 2.01 million square kilometers. Why do you want to fish in this small area where there is no fish?
So why aren't the fishermen aware of it?
Fishermen are aware, but they need the vessels. They don't have the money to wear those vessels.
Okay.
And even these vessels which they have, the mechanized trawlers, don't belong to them. They are wage earners. They belong to the big lobbies. Some names have been dropped there.
Oh.
The previous, like in, I think it was Subramania Swamy, there's a defamation case, it's a different issue. But he's the one who said these boats belong to Balu and Shashikala. He said that.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know whether it is true or not.
Okay. So let's hope the fishermen don't become pawns in this political games
that
are
should be the
being
interest
played.
of both the centre and the state. To
Yes.
ensure that they are given the wherewithal to fish in deeper waters and make that a habit. Not continue to depend on crossing the thing to look for fruits in the other somebody else's garden.
Okay. What do you think about Kachatiu?
Well, it is related to this previous question of yours. Basically, Kachatiu.
No, should we get it back? That's
okay.
No. I mean, this island which has been given to them, and the fishermen said it was, it actually belongs to us.
Okay. No, Kachatiu, one can write reams of paper about it. People have done so.
Yes.
The point is that till 1974 also it was contested. It's not that it was exclusively proven that it either belonged to Sri Lanka or us. The Indians quoted the zamindars, zamindari rights given to them by the Raja from Nad. The Sri Lankans said no, St. Anthony's was built by us when we've been on Kachatiu for so many years. So now we don't know how far in history we have to go to see who the true owners are. But the point today, in the present day context, by a median line philosophy, as enshrined by the UNCLOS, the bilateral agreement demarcates the line.
Okay.
And according to the demarcated line, Kachatiu has been ceded to them.
Okay.
It's been given away. Okay, because it fell on the line and they said okay. But at that time in 74, they said the Indian fishermen have a right to go and dry their nets and also visit the St. Anthony's temple, the church. The point is that, why would a fisherman go only to dry his nets if he is not fishing? That means indirectly it conveyed that you could also fish and you could also dry your net. But in 1976 it was clarified in the House of on the House of the Floor in Parliament that such is not the case. Indian fishermen are not allowed to cross the MPL. Kachatiu has been given away. The political parties in Tamil Nadu those days, I don't know, they were sleeping obviously.
Okay.
And nobody protested at that time. And suddenly today they are going to the Supreme Court, they are saying Kachatiu should be reclaimed and it is not constitutional, and if it was a part of Indian territory according to the constitution it should have been amended. So there are so many things which are, why were these political parties sleeping at that time? If you knew that something was not right. So this is the problem that we have. But what is the way ahead? I don't think India is a big country with small neighbors can afford to say that one day we'll sign an agreement and we will revoke it after 30 years or 40 years. I don't think it's a good thing to do that. But like I said, the solution lies in having a joint venture if required between Indian and Sri Lankan fishermen, and also empowering them to be able to look after themselves and make them stand on their own feet by these modern technologies which are available.
Well, you've given very good solutions. Hopefully it's followed somewhere. When I started, I mentioned that you have recently taken over as the director of C3S, that's the Chennai Center for China Studies. Well, it's at a very crucial time that you're taking over. There are very few think tanks in Chennai, and in particular on China Studies, very few in India. In what direction would you like to see the C3S headed?
No, you look. So I've been a member for many years now. Before I took over as the director.
Yeah.
What has been our focus? Luckily for us, we have Mr. Rajan with us, who was previously the director, and who has served in both Tokyo and Beijing.
Yeah.
And he has intimate knowledge of the language.
Okay.
The problem with a lot of us is that whatever we access about China, our perceptions of China comes from the English medium. Right? So this lacuna was overcome by the presence of Mr. Rajan, who's rendered human service, and he continues to be with us. That's a different issue. So the insights that you get from reading Chinese in Chinese language, Chinese perceptions and values, etc., is something that is irreplaceable.
Okay.
So we started on a mega budget, and we are sustaining on our own. There has been a certain amount of government support for this. What we would like to provide is let's say a peninsular perspective of China, because everything is Delhi centric. And there is one view to say that Delhi perhaps everybody sings the same tune, and you don't get a different kind of air. So we are quite happy to be providing an alternate view from peninsular India, Chennai. Chennai and China resonate together. Look at Chennai and China. So we have a team of people, former bureaucrats, defense people, academics, and even some researchers. We try to analyze this dispassionately without any baggage. So are we going to be successful? Are we successful? That's for the readers to gauge. But from the viewership, which has been very good, and from the kind of hits that we get on our website and kind of references that we get from all over the globe, we know that we are relevant and we are useful for academics, for policymakers, and others likewise. So we will continue to keep this thrust, and we would also like to, there's a lot of things that I have in mind about revamping our website, getting some more researchers from around the globe to contribute, starting off certain weekly columns by people who are not living in India but living elsewhere, so that you get a rounded view of what China is by distilling all these different concepts and ideas that are there about China. So we'll continue to depend on the core expertise that we have, which is the strength of the members that we have. We have people who are 80 years old, and we have people who are 30 years old. So there is this kind of combined experience and expertise that will lead us to finding the right mix of what we need to do in pursuit of our objectives. That's the way I look at it.
Very well put. But most important, do you have people wanting to learn Chinese?
Now see, who are the people who are learning languages? When you go to any of the School of Foreign Languages or the China Institute, who are the people who are learning? Invariably, they are the people who have a certain core interest in China for business opportunities.
Okay.
They are the people. But the rest of the people, the China, a lot of people are studying China. But the percentage of people who are learning Chinese, in my assessment, is not very high.
What's being done to increase it?
No, I think there has to be sustained effort at at the university level, at the government level. Maybe they have to provide even more scholarship. They must have exchange programs with China. There are Chinese who are interested. There are some Chinese here. It's not that they are not there. They're even here in India. But the point is, I think there should be a proper exchange program of Chinese scholars and Indian scholars, Chinese students and Indian students, who are given some kind of a study leave as well as some kind of a financial support for them to come here and study the language. And likewise, our people should go and study their languages. So only then,
basically at the governmental level.
Yes, not just the government, even the deemed universities can take up this initiative, because China will be such a huge country with the kind of resources that they have. They can absorb a few thousand from India is nothing. But they are the people who will perhaps help you in future in being positioned in the right kind of places where language becomes important.
Maybe in your capacity now as director and member of many advisory groups, you can suggest,
I have no illusions about being too powerful. Yes, I will provide the solutions, but finally it will be for these people to take up the initiative. We can definitely give the suggestions to the universities where I am visiting, etc. but finally it's for them, because some of them would do it for sake of its commercial interest. Some of the deemed universities, obviously they have commercial interest, so if it is profitable they will take it up. Whereas the government institutions, the government universities, they can mandate it as part of their curriculum, as part of their exchange programs, where I think both the countries will gain.
Okay. Your taking over as director, C3S, has come at the backdrop of Chinese Premier Xi Jinping's ongoing visit to India. What do you feel are the highlights of his trip, and could the Chinese border incursions in Ladakh overshadow the achievements of his trip in bilateral relations?
Doubtlessly, I think the last point you made is very valid. Because you cannot have the premier of a country visiting us and at that same time have 1,000 Chinese troops coming into our area. This is ridiculous. Obviously, but everyone, at least in our own assessment, we do know that Chinese send these messages, and nothing is, there is no disconnect in what they do. So there is a method in this madness, so to say. So if it had the sanction of the top leadership, that when I am there you can do this also, that's serious. Now obviously we need to be able to resolve the border issues, and unless, because what is the other issues that where we are not comfortable with each other? There is no other issue. The only issue is the border issue.
Tibet.
Tibet, well, because we have officially, the declared policy of India is that Tibet is an autonomous region of China. The fact is that because of the fact that the Hans are coming in a big way, and the Tibets are not happy about the fact that they're culturally, their identity is being managed. So that's different issues. But officially, the stated version of India is that Tibet is an integral part of China. So I'm not looking at Tibet as such, but we are looking at our own border, where the people are being subjected to a lot of hardship because of these frequent incursions. It's just like the Pakistan border. What is the difference between Pakistan border and China border? In Pakistan border, you have shelling coming across the border, and here you have people coming inside. Both are equally bad. So where is the sanctity of the border that we are talking about? And if you do know that this is the only thing that we need to sort out, why are you not sorting it out? So the leadership should have made use of this opportunity to come out with some out-of-the-box solution to say, we are sorting this out in the next 1 year, 2 years, 18 months, whatever. Set yourself a time frame to resolve this. And if China and India thereafter talk in the same language, as has been also said by some of the analysts, the world will resolve.
But so, what about the economic achievements?
See, this has been going on. See, it's not that it's one-way traffic. India has been complaining about the kind of imbalance there is in trade, which will being sought to be corrected. But with the size and scale of economy of China, we can't compete with them. There's no question. Let's not
be under some illusions.
So let's not think that we can compete with China. We have a long way to go. They are way ahead of us. They are 20 years ahead of us. That is the assessment. Economically, yes, whatever we have seen, it's good. From everybody said since Japan has given you $35 billion, they will invest $100 billion. It's not so. They are investing something like $25 billion. So let's wait and watch and see how it goes. But just because there is economic interest and they are trying to look at leverages on both sides, it cannot be at the cost of tranquility on the borders. Simple.
Thank you. As I said, you presently wear many hats. Can you talk about your role in your other areas of responsibility?
Well, it's just a question of,
how do you find the time? This itself is such a...
Yeah, I know. The time is always a constraint, but I've been quite happy because I believe in doing justice to all the hats that I wear. It's not that there's any money in this, except for some of the teaching assignments that I take. So, it is my expertise and experience which I built up over 3.5 decades. And whatever I can share, I'm quite happy to share. So, the important ones over here are, the director of the Asian Secretariat of the World Borderpol. We are having a great momentum to look at safe and secure borders. So I'm contributing in my capacity as a director, where we interacting with people from around the world on what kind of practices, best practices there are for border control, immigration control. Now we also have serious issues here, as you know, that we had illegal immigration efforts of unseaworthy boats trying to take people, women and children.
Australia.
So these are, I'm engaged in that discussion. So I contribute to that effort in my individual capacity as well as in the capacity of the entire Secretariat. The teaching assignments are basically in the Great Lake Institute of Management, where I devised a strategy capsule as an elective subject for the postgraduate management people.